I mean, you're live.
Okay.
I know the music isn't playing yet, though. The hell's going on with the music? Say something.
Something?
Not that. I mean,
Okay,
like.
fine. Or so we think are having less fun than any human being can possibly have because we're Clevelanders. I'm Paul Warren, and here's Sparky. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Yes, it is me, Mark Sparky Warren, and that's what is all of this going on. It's not. Start playing the music. Well, whatever. So he gave the cold intro there, all sorts of stuff. That's no, of course it didn't start. That's what do you mean? That's oh my goodness.
We're having technical difficulties at this time.
I don't. What's with the brain drain line too? Even like I don't.
Because
what is the thing that you're stealing from?
Okay.
That's your brain food thing. Like I asked you that question yesterday.
Okay, it was from Family Guy. All right.
Don't yell at me. I'm just asking you a question.
Hey.
So what from Family Guy?
Your
brain food thing.
Yeah, brain
when
Brian says it.
And Brian and Studi play disc jockeys?
Yes.
It's so dumb. Anyway.
He hates Family Guy more than
I do hate Family Guy. Family Guy's stupid.
No, we're not doing that.
All right. That's already off to a fantastic start. So here's the notes that I have regarding today, what I plan on discussing, I suppose. I don't know. It's the effing music thing isn't working. It's driving me nuts. That's not how that should be. Getting pissed off with this. And then, I mean, this and the intro, like what? I don't understand.
All right, I won't use it next time.
Fine, it's whatever. Warren Brothers Sports Show here on the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network here on YouTube. That's just wonderful. Everything was working fine yesterday, and now that's not working, and that's great. The Redskins take on the Vikings tonight in NFL action. Want to ask Paul at some point what his picks are for this weekend because he won't be here tomorrow. He's out on assignment. What he thinks will be happening around the NFL and games that matter to me, because that's all that matters to me is what matters to me. Obviously, as you can tell from the way we started the show today. Bengals at the Rams, the Eagles at the Bills, the Broncos at the Colts, the Dolphins at the Steelers, and of course, the Browns at the Patriots.
Colts and Broncos. I think that's interesting because they're both named after horses.
Yeah, I'm glad that's what you got from it, is that they are both horse teams.
Yeah.
Are there any other horse teams in the NFL?
No.
Nothing else, huh?
But it was interesting that John Elway was going to be on the. What if Elway was on the Colts? Would have saved Baltimore?
I don't know if necessarily would have saved them. They probably wouldn't have moved. That's what the speculation is.
Speculation.
Not yours. I mean, you're not the first person who ever came up with it. That's what they were saying.
Okay.
Like they never would have moved.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know the story behind that? They wound up when he was going to play with the Yankees.
Yeah.
Because they were going to draft him too, instead of going to play with the Baltimore Colts.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Okay.
But
did you hear that from me?
I think you told me that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was the one who told you that.
But Elway looks like a horse.
Yes, Paul. John Elway looks like a horse. And that's why it's funny that he was almost drafted by one team. It looks like horses. Well, he technically was drafted by the Colts.
Yes.
And then traded to the Broncos
for
like a offensive tackle. He was actually a pretty good football player. I forget his name, though.
Yeah.
And then Cleveland Cavaliers season started last night.
And ended.
Yeah, you're already just giving up on it. I mean, they played kind of tight against a pretty good Orlando Magic team, lost 94-85. If they hadn't blown it as badly as they had in the second quarter, maybe they would have stayed tight. I mean, they were only trailing 59-54 about halfway through the third quarter. I don't think they quite have the depth to hang with some of these other teams. Oh, hey, there's the music. Hey, 5 minutes in, now you know where the show can start. That was stupid. Dig through all this crap. All this crap's open. It doesn't matter.
Strawberries, marshmallows, tinfoil, and fudge, and some bingo balls hanging from trees.
The biggest problem I had with the Cavaliers last night in Oakland is that they just weren't finishing.
Orlando.
What did I say?
Oakland. The
Doesn't
Warriors
really-
are in Oakland.
It doesn't. Not anymore. They're about to move. It's their last year in Oakland. Aren't they technically going to be San Francisco?
Still going to be...
Golden State. I know that. But they're going to be playing in San Francisco, I think.
They always interchange.
It doesn't matter at all. And in fact, I think they've been in Oakland for like 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
So lost in Orlando. Sorry. Where the Cavaliers' two biggest problems that I saw are that they're not finishing at the hoop. I mean, just weak stuff. We'll get into that later. And just in the NBA in general, nobody playing defense, regardless of the discussions that my brother-in-law had one time, how he says NBA defenses are better now. I don't see how that is because I constantly just see defenders watch balls go up uncontested. But no, defense wasn't better back in the 80s and 90s. You know, when scores were historically lower than they are now. And finally, pretty much just keeping it to the three main things because he has no idea what he wants to talk about hockey-wise, if anything at all.
Well, there isn't much hockey.
No, it's early in the season. There's not really anything going on. But what I actually really am psyched to talk about when we get to it, I'll probably make it first even at this point because I don't care about football at this moment in time, is the World Series. Baseball. The 12-3 beating that the Washington Nationals put on the Houston Astros. It came down to bullpen. And Kurt Suzuki hitting a big home run off of Justin. He doesn't do steroids. Verlander. The guy gave up. The Astros as a collective gave up 6 runs. That I believe was the top of the 7th. It was a very long inning. I think that half an inning lasted longer than the whole entirety of the rest of the game combined. Everybody in the Nationals lineup batted. I think Suzuki was the last out of the inning. Don't recall. It was a very long inning. I mean, after that, the game was more or less over, but the Nationals tacked on a couple more runs the following inning. I think 3 more runs even. It eventually led to almost a football score. 12-3. That might be the final score of the Steelers-Dolphins game on Monday night.
Which one had the 3?
Probably the Dolphins.
Yeah. I just think about the Thunder Bowl.
I know what you're talking about, where the field was such complete slop. Final score was 3-0. There was only points being scored on the last play of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a Steelers-Dolphins Monday nighter, right?
Yep.
Heck, maybe the same thing will happen. That'll just be amazing. Call it, Thunder Bowl 2. Return to Thunder Bowl. Yeah, Beyond Thunder Bowl. There you go.
I rivers football.
I'm not. But, it comes down
Miami isn't either.
Huh?
I said Miami isn't either.
No, they're not. There's probably college teams who could play close to their level.
I think they could probably beat the Dolphins, Miami U, Florida.
No, I don't know about any of that.
Seminoles.
Are you following college football that in depthly to know that Miami U's all that good or bad or anything?
I'm just.
What if the U's just terrible this year? Hold it up high enough. The U, isn't that right? The U. You don't know, do you?
No, but all I know is that Bernie Kosar
went there.
Yes.
Yeah, like 35 years ago.
And same as one of my favorite actors. As far back as I remember, I always wanted to go to Miami U.
Ray Liotta went to Miami
Yes.
University. You'd think it would smell more like citrus than apples then.
Yeah.
And so the thing that I find intriguing in this baseball series is that the Nationals have now started a 2-0 series lead, winning both games in Houston. So on the road, 2 straight games and won. So there's 3 times in my lifetime in which teams have come back from that. This was a stat that intrigued me that they rattled off during last night's broadcast, in which the home team lost the first 2 games of the World Series, but went on to win the series. And that was done by the 1985 Kansas City Royals, the 1986 New York Mets, and the 1996 New York Yankees, which was mostly brought up a lot because it's John Smoltz is the commentator in the booth with Joe Sucks, and so that kept getting brought up.
Yeah, I actually did think about that.
What did you think about
teams that were 0-2 and then they won it all?
Wait, when were you thinking about that?
I thought about it yesterday.
Oh yeah,
yeah, a little bit. Or more likely today, like a team that.
Yeah, because Washington wasn't up 2-0 yesterday until late yesterday. Is that when you thought about it? But it was today.
Bit, yeah.
About it potentially happening.
Yeah.
Well, what about it were you thinking about?
I was just wondering the other times when it happened.
Oh, like I just told you?
Uh-huh.
Oh. So I answered your question before you asked it, huh?
Yes.
Well, then that's just telepathical ESPN powers that us as brothers have. It's just amazing. Amazing.
ESPN.
No, that's a terrible joke. So dumb. Yeah, I mean, you want to talk more about the World Series? They're off tonight. They head back to Washington.
Not really. Like I said, I haven't been paying much attention because
don't pay attention to any sports.
Okay, I'm not a sports fan. There. Okay.
I know, but that's the whole. That's the crux of the show is that like it's sports, and we know that you're not into sports, but like I almost have to like drag you kicking and screaming to even just check out a sport or any. Well, I mean, even the hockey thing. Like, oh, I love hockey. Hockey's boring.
It's like, fine, just do what you did with the Malcolm McDowell's character in Clockwork Orange. Please, I have to watch sports all the time.
Not necessarily that. I mean, just
okay.
If you'd watch something, I suppose. Well, what I'm gonna do here is it queuing up? Okay, good. It's actually now all working now. That's the same song though. It's not the one I want to play. There it is. What I'm going to do now, however, though, is turn it on over to Paul, Mr. Cleveland Warren, who will give us our traffic and weather update from the Warren Brothers Traffic and Weather Center.
Traffic right now. Traffic was fine on the right over to the studio when Mark Warren, the greatest brother in the world, drove me here.
You didn't read it beforehand, did you? You're like just reading it right now, aren't you? Yeah. Right. Oh, you did read it earlier?
The weather right now, it is currently 56 degrees and cloudy. Expect a high of 63 and a low of 48. And partly cloudy throughout most of the remainder of the day. Low chances of precipitation tonight. It's high chance of darkness. And now back to Mark at the Old Brooklyn News Desk.
Oh, hi there. I got the news for you now. In local news, 3 youths were seen milling about the Westbrook apartments past curfew. Police officers chased them and arrested the kids at a nearby park. The minors were released to their parents' custody. Hopefully their parents gave them what for being out past curfew. I wonder if does that happen at the Westbrook's apartment? Maybe those kids were the same ones who took that $2 in change out of that guy's truck. Yeah, anyway, also in the news, Special Assistant to the Sheriff in Avon Lake, Hugh Jackson, has petitioned the most powerful person in the world, Hillary Clinton, to help with the manhunt to chase down Bill Clinton and Jerry Sandusky. That is it for your news. Also got a live review. What, huh?
What happened to Cosby?
What do you mean?
Said Clinton.
I meant Cosby. I'm sorry. Bill Cosby. It's Hillary Clinton looking for Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky. Go ahead and get to the YouTubes there and find yourself. Get out and play with Melody. My niece, Melody Bache, has an entertaining YouTube channel. Get out and play with Melody. If you have kids, nephews, or nieces, maybe you're babysitting, or you just like to be entertained yourself personally, start playing the thing. Just go to YouTube. Type into the search bar, Get Out and Play with Melody. Sit back and enjoy. Even though it is kid friendly, and I'm not just saying this because she's my niece, but the little 8-year-old genius will almost sadden you if you went to school for filming. She's pretty darn good at it. She's clever. So YouTube, Get Out and Play with Melody. Like, subscribe, share, and so forth. Click on the bell for notifications. All of that stuff. So, hey, we're back. Here we are. This is what we're doing. See, now it's like it's in my head. I had a coworker tell me at a part-time job that I do, after I had her watch one of the episodes. I forget, maybe it was episode 5, whatever it was. And again, I don't claim everybody's got to watch the entire 2 hours of every single thing or anything like that. She watches, she goes and she says, "No, you're really not that enthusiastic, are you?" And now that's all that's on my mind. So I'm even less enthusiastic now.
All right. I'm on the show.
And it doesn't do any good because I'm working with the guy who is the least enthusiastic person that I know. That's this guy right here. And I couldn't tell which one was real and which one was fake. Like, it was like you were pretending to make fun of me sounding like you, but then you sounded like you, and I don't know. I can't tell. But I also don't want to just crap on you for 2 hours because that's not cool either. But I need another person to crap on. Yeah, no, that's not what I meant. Well, anyway, what do you want to talk about?
Let's still talk about baseball or football.
You pick one.
Okay. Football.
Okay. Tonight is the Redskins-Vikings game. I already heard advertisements saying, "Hey, you can turn it off at halftime. Game will already be over by then. Vikings are just going to demolish the Redskins." And to my knowledge, so far as I still know it, is that the Redskins aren't looking to start Haskins at quarterback anytime soon. They're going to start. Is it Case Keenum now? They have 4 or 5 quarterbacks on their roster. They've started Colt McCoy in games. They have Alex Smith, who is eventually going to come back from a career-ending injury, which doesn't make sense because he had the career-ending injury, but his career didn't end, but he's not playing. Anyway, do you have any thoughts on tonight's game?
Not really. It sounds like the Vikings might win this game.
It's pretty likely that the Vikings will win this game.
Yeah.
They are just out and out the better team. They're one of the best conferences in football too. You heard that blurb earlier when we were listening to stuff that I was hoping you'd pick up for pregame here. Our show while we were doing pre-show prep stuff. I like listening to a particular guy who's on the dial on the FM side between 92.2 and 99.4 because I feel like Paul's voice is somewhat similar to this fella's. The guy's name's Jeff Thomas. I am a fan of that one guy. He does pretty well. Even the show he's on doesn't completely suck. But that's the guy's. He's reminiscent of Paul when I listen to him. Sounds like if Paul did a show on the radio, he would sound like that guy. Most of you is the guy throws in wacky sound effects and other things like that. And it's not stealing from other shows. He puts in the clips. And it's not just random like brain drain from the gigabyte or whatever the hell it is Paul does. And they have a different opening every single time.
I just add something else, okay?
You add?
Yes.
What do you mean?
That's nothing.
You mean nothing?
I just add like something like different.
Right.
That's all.
And it's fine to have like one different thing in there each time, I suppose. But like I purposely made sure I went through and wrote your traffic today because I knew you weren't going to write traffic.
Okay.
You're not going to do your traffic and weather. I have to write them.
Okay. Well,
because if you do it, you try to ad-lib them and they just sound terrible. And since like it's an opening to the show, it should be a relatively consistent, almost always the same opening. It's the first one, as I'll go back and look at the first episode, sometimes you're throwing in Rocky and Bullwinkle stuff and you stop doing that. That's fine, I guess, but I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, I'll just have to find a good leeway for it, okay?
Right, and that's fine. I mean, you had a good one at the other station.
Does the guy on that station use the Big Chuck Little John laugh?
I have no idea. You're obsessed with that.
Yeah, he posted on his.
Like you wrote it out even. I don't. It's onomatopoeia is what that is. It's wah ha 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 ha. Ah. Like, and it's really like all those letters typed out to spell out to whatever the laugh
this
is.
How it goes.
Uh-huh. So he wrote all that out, even including like the part where like there's a parenthesis says hand clap and parentheses in case like you needed it written out for some reason.
I'm just a nerd.
It's a word for it. I guess nerd will be the one. There, you want to discuss NFL football since you won't be here tomorrow, and I have no idea what you're going to call in about whenever. I don't even know where you're going out on location tomorrow.
Well, I'm not sure either.
You don't even know. You just know you don't want to be here, so you're going out on location.
Well, I can't be here. I'm going to have a lunch thing.
Who does? I sound like a sea lion dying, or Paul? What was that, Paul? Oh, the ha thing. Is that it? I don't know. Paul, wait, what were you? Yeah, no, I know about that's what real life is. The joke, the bit is that you're going to be on location. Yes. Where are you going to go have lunch for real? Tell me that part.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, when you get there, or when you know, or whatever it is, say that that's where you're on location at, and that it's for some reason that it's important because it's related to sports. I mean, if you find out beforehand, text it to me. I'll help you come up with something.
Well, if it's a burger place, I'm going to say I'm at Arch Burgers.
And that's fine. And why would you be there? Because Baker Mayfield is recording yet another commercial instead of playing football or practicing? That's funny. You could do that. Wherever you go for lunch, say you're there because Baker Mayfield's filming a commercial.
Okay, then. I sound like a dying sea lion.
Yeah, when you do that laugh. I guess that's the implication there, which doesn't make any sense to me, but it's Eric, so that's fine.
Well, that laugh's 50 years old now.
Sure, only like 36. It's you steal the laugh to him, and it's fine. Do you want to talk about some of the football games? I mean, apparently you're intrigued in this Broncos Colts matchup.
Oh yeah, because I think the Colts are gonna beat the Broncos.
Well, it's a home game for Indy.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos have not shown to be good this year. I mean, I think they've gone 3 full games without scoring an offensive touchdown or some nonsense like that. Flacco is looking like he should have got extra Dayquil for me. That would be nice. Thank you. That actually makes sense because you can hear it. Still residuals from yesterday. Residue? Whatever. I'm very phlegmy. So phlegmy. Should call me phlegm. So what was my point with the Broncos Colts? Broncos are just garbage. Broncos are terrible. Their defense is supposed to be one of the best in the league. They're not built to play any offense. I think they were relying too much on that halfback Lindsey going into this season, who was an excellent player last year. I like him a lot. He's still playing well this year. But I think they even traded one of their wide receivers in the last few days. Now that it's trade week in football, it's hard to keep track of stuff. But I'm not expecting the Broncos to pull off the victory in Indy, even with with the Andrew Luck retirement and apparently Jacoby Brissett being a better answer at quarterback for the Colts. And the Colts playing good enough defense.
Yeah, I just right now it sounds like the Denver Broncos are the Denver Bonkos.
Bonkos?
Yeah, bonk.
Did you just come up with that right now?
Yes.
Couldn't you have just called them like the Denver Jackasses or the Denver Donkeys or like an actual horse-related one?
Ponies.
Ponies. They're the Denver My Little Ponies.
Yes.
They're the Denver Bronies. Instead, you went with Bonkos.
Because it rhymes with Broncos.
Because it rhymes with Broncos. That passes as clever for you, rhyming?
Yeah, somewhat.
No.
Well, Adam Sandler makes up words, and so you like his stuff.
Those are different things, and Denver Broncos need to be on a t-shirt. Well, Jake liked it. Hey, Jake chiming in. You go ahead and you print those up. We'll sell them. We'll get some costs, prices. We'll have the Denver Broncos t-shirts for when we head out to Denver. The Browns play the Denver Broncos.
And hilarious. And we'll have some omelets too.
Oh, and Epic Radio Show, the entire program thinks that Broncos is hilarious. So I'm wrong. I don't know funny. Apparently Paul is the drag queen of comedy, and I'm an idiot.
Oh, don't be a drag, just be a queen.
Mm-hmm.
Pshaw, call me Caitlin.
Have we analyzed the Broncos Colts game enough?
Yes.
Have you said all you need to say about the Broncos? And let's see, it would be instead of Von Miller, it'd be I don't know, Van Miller, Bon Miller, because it rhymes. Bon Biller on the Broncos with Bo Blacko, their quarterback, and Philip Blimsey, their running back.
Why don't we poke you in the eye again?
No. In what universe would you think the answer would be yes? Were you expecting, yeah, poke me in the eye? Is that what you were hoping would happen?
No.
Then why would you ask?
No. Let's just get to the other games.
Oh, okay. We'll move on then.
Yes.
We'll do Bengals at Rams, even though I pretty much know the answer to that one.
Yeah, Rams over Bungles.
That's right. I can't see the Bengals winning I mean, they're going to have to win one at some point this season. Was that a home game for them against the Steelers? I don't recall earlier in the year.
I don't know either.
I think they played against each other, and then the Buggles most likely will not defeat the Rams in LA.
Hey, you guys got time for an interruption from the executive producer?
Well, there's executive producer Dad. Go ahead, Dad.
Can you hear me? Am I coming through?
I hear you.
I don't have to come over there?
No, I don't think you should have to. And listeners, if you hear Dad, let us know. So what's up, Dad?
Well, here's my question. What is professional sports in general? What's their general attitude towards the use of steroids?
So professional sports in general, their feelings on the usage of steroids. Well, most of them are outwardly against it, but inwardly seem okay with it, so long as you don't get caught.
Okay, now how do steroids work?
How do steroids work? It depends on if you use the cream or you inject it.
Okay, what does it do?
Well, it makes you stronger. It can make you faster.
Right.
And the biggest thing that it does is it helps you heal quickly from ailments. It's why, like, I believe that Mark McGwire used steroids knowingly and willingly, but that his primary reasoning for it was getting back quicker from back injuries. And the fact that it helped him hit a lot more home runs was a little bonus. You know, Lyle Alzado got popped for.
Now, from my understanding of from a medical point of view,
Yeah.
Doesn't it work with the endocrine system?
Endocrine? Paul, you're the better science guy. Is that a yes?
I don't know.
Okay, so Paul says I don't know, but we'll take your word for it.
Well, Paul, look that up on your phone. You see what steroids actually do, what they work on.
Here, Paul's phone won't do that, but I got this over here. I'll try to use it to look up endocrine.
Endocrine.
What?
Endocrine.
Endocrine. Oh, I was thinking of that camera that Paul Simon uses. That's a chromacone. So endocrine and
yeah.
Steroids and endocrine.
Yeah, just look up this.
Paul talk.
Okay. Well, I just don't. I never heard about endocrine until now.
Steroids.
And the endocrine system.
And antibiotic. These lab-made steroids work like the hormone cortisol.
Right.
Which your adrenal glands make.
Yeah.
It's part of your. It has to do with hormones.
Yeah, it has to do with hormones.
Yeah, that's why Epic Radio Show said.
Yeah, and it shrinks your wiener. Yeah.
Yeah, shrinks your Johnson.
Well, it makes the ball smaller. The penis itself is a muscle, so if you work it out enough, that'll get larger. Ask Jose Canseco's wife.
Here's the reason why I posed the question.
Okay.
We had a number of issues lately where transitioning. I'm not debating either science or gender.
Okay.
I'm debating fairness.
Right.
If a male is transitioning and using hormone blockers, you know, to transition,
yes,
he's reversing the process of what the steroids would have been doing otherwise.
Right.
Once that person goes to that stage, what's to keep him from going back? You understand what I'm talking about?
I think so.
You can't have it both ways. You can't say that, well, certain traits that come from male hormones produce higher performance, and then say, but it's okay as long as you're transitioning to have an unfair advantage over people with different hormones.
So it duly does two things when a man is going and becoming a woman. Not only is it that he therefore then feels as though that since he feels as though he's a she, he is she and getting these things to cause him to become a she. But not only that, but these things that she is taking also gives them a competitive advantage because it is a performance enhancing drug.
What's to stop people from using steroids then, in theory, in the future? Because you understand where I'm going with this.
I do, because it'll cause more and more cheating to occur.
Exactly.
And it's basically by allowing it in racing and bicycling and MMA and the other number of sports where it has been allowed thus far, is that it is condoning cheating to be okay, even though for decades in the three major sports and hockey, cheating is not okay. Because steroids are not okay because they are banned in those sports. And they went through huge hullabaloos in court, Supreme Court, and what have you, to prove that guys cheated playing baseball and football. But now it is okay for guys to cheat to play women's sports. And that's okay.
Point. Are they championing the cause of women?
Well, no, not at all.
Not at all.
No.
They're championing their own personal cause because they know they have an advantage over other people, and they can go into a sport where they don't have to compete with other men. Thus, they can outcompete the women based on their hormonal structures and make themselves famous where they don't deserve to be famous because they cheated.
Right.
But what's to stop them from somebody somewhere down the road using that argument and say, well, that means I can take them in my sport. I'm a guy, I'm just boosting my hormones.
Well, I mean, I guess it's only okay if you're a guy who thinks he's a woman. Now, what I would like to see is the guy who thinks he's a woman compete in the men's sports instead of just, taking the easy way out and competing in women's sports.
The point I'm trying to make is it's not fair.
None of it's fair. And
if we have a system that's concerned with fairness and equity, like it's claimed, we would give people. They're letting people who are opportunists take advantage of the loopholes.
That's correct. And the thing is, I mean, this literally goes back to stuff that we talked about in the 90s. I mean, they made a movie called Joanna Man. It's a dude dresses like a woman, so he gets a chance to play because he's not good enough to play with the guys. So he'll just beat the women. And we're literally saying that it is okay to beat women because there's an MMA fighter who beat a woman like almost to death because he identifies as a woman. Paul, you had your finger raised?
Didn't Joanna Man come out in 2002?
I'm sorry I said 90s then. 2002. Holy crap.
Well, that was my political spin for the day. It's not so much about what people believe anymore. It's about where they can see an advantage for themselves.
Well, and I mean, we live in an ever increasingly selfish, self-centered society, which is
They couch it in all these lofty things they claim are some higher purpose. But really, all it is so they can make more money, be more famous, have more friends, have more success, all that other crap. And people just look at it and say, oh, yeah, that's okay.
Well, now we're going to throw it on over to Paul Warren at the Warren Brothers Traffic and Weather Center, and he's going to give you traffic and weather.
Traffic was fine on the road to the studio when Mark Warren, one of the greatest brothers in the world, drove me here. And for the weather, it is currently 56 degrees and cloudy. Expect a high of 63 degrees and a low of 48, and partly cloudy throughout most of the remainder of the day.
Partly cloudy?
Cloudy.
Okay.
Low chance of precipitation tonight, high chance of darkness. And now we throw it back to Mark at the Old Brooklyn News Desk.
You read that really well at the end there, though. A low chance of precipitation tonight, a high chance of darkness.
Epic Radio Show said, if
What?
you inject steroids in your butt, is it an asteroid?
You got to tell the joke right. You can say ass.
Okay.
I told you the other time.
If you inject steroids in your ass, does it become an asteroid?
Yes. I guess you could say butt too, because Dad laughed at that one. All right. In
Butt
the
and ass are
news,
interchangeable.
what?
Butt and ass are interchangeable.
Well, I guess it depends on who it is. You can't ride a butt into town, because that's a donkey, and that's the Broncos. In the news, 3 youths were seen milling about the Westbrook Village apartments over on Memphis Avenue past curfew. They were chased by local police officers and tracked down and arrested at a local little park. They were released into their parents' custody, where hopefully the parents beat their asses for being out past curfew. I wonder if there's any relation to the $2 stolen out of the same parking lot there at the Westbrook Village Apartments. Guy's unlocked car overnight had $2 taken out of it, but those dots haven't been connected by the local police.
And they put whipped cream on my eggnog pie.
What? Because Grandma lived there?
Yes.
That's the connection?
Somewhat.
That's okay. And then I guess my other point being news item is that the assistant to the sheriff in Avon Lake, Hugh Jackson, he has emailed the most powerful person in the world, Hillary Clinton, in hopes that she will help him with the manhunt to chase down Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky.
And probably Bill Clinton.
No one knows where he is.
I'm
Not at the moment.
I'm gonna have a Playboy party in my place right now. Woo! Yeah, hooray!
Right, because she's busy trying to track down. Anyway, you got commercials? Do a commercial or two,
Okay.
or whatever you're gonna do.
I'm Paul Warren for the Community Buffet. You forgot to thaw the chicken. You have a surprise
Yes,
gathering
Jake.
from your
Yes.
family, or you're just too tired to make a decent meal. Well, look no further than the Community Buffet. They have salads, soups, meats, sides, desserts, and even mocktails. There's live music every day as well. And all that for $6 with tips and donations are appreciated. And they are located inside the Cathedral Community College. The Community Buffet, we save the plate for you. And also, from the same place, I'm Paul Warren for the Cathedral Community College. You want to graduate at a university, but you don't want to pay an arm or leg to go there. Well, look no further than the Cathedral Community College. They have departments in liberal arts, science, law, and seminary classes. And all classes can be transferred to any college in the country. There's six locations.
How many
inside-
locations are there? Okay, all right, stop. Your connection is unstable. I don't know if I like that. See if I can get that. Oh, it disappeared. Hang on. See if I can get that on screen because I'm not smart enough to be able to know. So it's just gonna glare. I don't know if that'll pick up. The Denver Broncos, and you see the little nose there, like it's a clown. Bonkos. Would we make those?
I don't know.
Paul, do you like that?
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
you find that
I
funny?
like it.
I like it.
Little red clown nose. That's excellent job in all of 2 minutes of work. I actually commend you greatly for hitting that right on the nose, on the big red rubber clown nose. Teespring. Well, but what I mean, because that's the tough thing about it. So that game's just a handful of days away. It's just over a week away. But yeah, no, I'll say you were right on the nose with that. Yes.
What are the other games playing this Sunday?
You want to get back to that?
Yes.
Okay.
Next to the Clowns and Patriots.
Well, the other games of note, in my opinion, because these are some of the Browns' upcoming. Browns fans will always hate the Broncos. You know what? You bring up a good point there, but you have to almost go with the old school horse then, with the D and like the big D, and it'd be Elway's face on the horse and the Bonko nose. I don't know. I like how much. Paul, I mean, the Epic said you were a comic genius, Paul. You're getting a lot of mileage out of this Broncos thing. Or just John Elway dressed as a clown. You put he looks like it. I mean, we hate John Elway. The Broncos are just the side element of that. We wouldn't even give a crap about them if it weren't for John Elway. All right, so we'll do Eagles Bills, and that's an important game to look at this week because it's Bills. I don't know. Can we call the Eagles this? Are the Eagles in a downswing this year? I'm not sure. But is this the Bills' first real challenge?
Yes.
Oh, it is. You know
some
definitively
ways.
that the Eagles are the Bills' first real challenge?
Yeah.
How in some ways?
I don't know. I just had that feeling.
Uh-huh.
But if the Bills beat the Eagles, then the Eagles might as well call themselves the Beagles.
Beagles, fellas. Make a shirt out of that. So,
The Philadelphia Beagles.
yeah.
Because
That's
Beagles don't do much but bark.
well, they don't fly. You could just change the one letter in the song, and they would fly like the Beagles and throw them in the sea.
Oh,
Jake's ready. But in the Beagles Bills matchup, the Bills did play the Patriots well earlier in the season. It was a good game. The Bills' only loss. The Eagles have not looked so good. In fact, they looked downright terrible against the Cowboys last Sunday. Will the Eagles wind up taking a big L going into Buffalo? And Buffalo week in and week out has played tightly contested games. Even their 31-21 victory over the Dolphins, 21 points is the most that Miami has put up against anybody. I really thought they had an out-and-out anemic offense before that Bills game. I mean, maybe it was Fitzmagic, as people like to call Fitzpatrick, Ryan Fitzpatrick. If that was more him being the oddly good bad quarterback that he is. He's not a winner. Teams that he's a quarterback on don't win, but he puts up pretty damn good stats. Like, you want him on a fantasy team because he throws the ball a lot. It's relatively accurate. I'm surprised he never played here. With all the different quarterbacks we had, I would have expected Fitzpatrick, and he's played on almost half the teams in the league. You name an NFL team. Go ahead, just pick one. Ryan Fitzpatrick probably played on that team. So, with that being said, though, and he started in a lot of those places too. That's the really weird thing about it. I don't know how I feel about the Eagles. if the Eagles pull off the victory there in Buffalo, but the Browns do have Buffalo here in town in a few weeks. If the Eagles defeat the Bills, well, what does that say, Paul?
Well, then, I don't know if the Bills might lose against us, but
that's what I'm implying. If the Eagles can hang with the Bills and even defeat them in Buffalo, that tells me quite a bit about what the Browns can be in store for a few short weeks from now. That's why I brought up the Broncos thing. The Broncos looked bad, and that was a home game. Why am I forgetting who they just played the week before?
Huh.
In the last Thursday nighter. They got creamed 30-6. Those notes aren't here. Damn it. Well, anyway, they lost that game terribly because it wasn't the Chargers. It was the Chiefs. It was the damn Chiefs. So now the Broncos going in to play the Colts, and they'll, my humble opinion, most likely lose that game as well. So, do you have any more insight on that Eagles-Bills game?
No, that was it.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to skip ahead.
Okay.
I'm passing our game to go to the Miami-Pittsburgh game. And the reason why this is key to me, and we discussed it a little bit in the open about just how terrible the last time these two faced each other on Monday night was, the Thunderdome game, or whatever Paul calls it.
The Thunder Bowl. Yeah,
that's it. So the Thunderballs. And so with that, what I would have to say here is you're looking at Pittsburgh hoping to not lose to Miami, give Miami their first win on the season, the worst team in football, but outside of Fitzpatrick, I mean, maybe that guy's got some magic in him, and he leads the Dolphins to a win in Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh is down to their third string quarterback. I don't know if Maya Rudolph is going to be back to play. Mason Rudolph. Maya Rudolph is the actress from SNL.
I just want to see the Dolphins win this.
And why is that?
Because I can't stand Pittsburgh.
Well, that's a reason.
They're my
enough reason for
second
me.
Least favorite team.
Who is your least favorite team?
Patriots.
Why are the Patriots your least favorite team?
Well, because they keep winning, and they don't win like gracefully.
Yeah, they do seem a bit cocky about their winning.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriot way.
Bill Belichick.
So you're hoping Miami wins the Monday nighter.
Yes.
I honestly kind of am too, and especially because I'm not one to go hopelessly into a game. But it's the Browns going into New England to face the Patriots, the team that we both hate, and we know the reasons why we hate them. Because they consistently win, no matter what. I mean, they just made a trade too. They just went and they got an excellent wide receiver because Josh Gordon was tossed on the IR. Now there's all sorts of speculation around that. I mean, you know what I think it is. But he's about to get dinged with something. I have a feeling. Ding. That's speculation too, though. So my thought just being that they went out and they got Sanu simply because, well, we're going to throw Gordon on the IR. Yeah, he's injured. Or, I don't think the injury was bad enough to fall on the IR. So I think something else happened in-house. And, they don't stand for any shenanigans unless it's Randy Moss. And his shenanigans were harmless and light, whereas Josh Gordon's shenanigans were just cruel and unusual. And not shenanigans at all, really. And the next person who says shenanigans, I'm going to pistol whip.
Shenanigans.
And you combine two different things there. Do you know the movie I was just quoting like verbatim?
Oh no,
Super Troopers.
Okay, because
I still got to watch Super Troopers.
I was thinking more of South Park.
I know, because of the shenanigans thing. Don't go calling shenanigans, which is what. Yeah, Gary. Gary's not watching. Gary's too busy recreating a new career in some other fake town.
Eating Paducah fried chicken.
I actually saw a news report about something that happened in Paducah, and I wanted to talk about it, but I forgot what it was. Oh, an attempted bank robbery. And the robber leaves the gun on the counter. He went up to the school to see my show last week. Someone should have notified him I got fired. He should have just gone on and pretended it was our show. Just done it. That I would have been cool with, because that would have been funny. I've reached out to him at least like 2 or 3 times now. Various different times. I don't think he wants to talk to me even. I think I was so convincing in the fact that I believe that he never went down there, even though I do believe he went down there. I just play the part too well. Yeah, no, seriously, because like there was a bank teller, and the guy's in there to rob the bank. He sets the gun on there to grab the note, I guess, or whatever it was that he went to grab, and flat out, she just grabs the gun and says, "What are you doing? Get down!" And she holds him at bay, calls the police or something. And it happened in Paducah, and that's what was funny about it. I'm like, oh, Paducah, I've heard of that place. Gary claims he went down there for a fake job that he never had.
Let's have some Paducah fried chicken.
But
mashed potatoes, some coleslaw, some buttermilk biscuits.
Maybe Gary's actually watched. That would be nice. He was a nice guy, and he did a good job as a producer of that show for a while until he left. But I don't know. Browns Patriots. Of course, the Patriots will most likely win, and Paul hates them. And I had some segue there that had something to do with Miami, Pittsburgh, and the Patriots, but I've forgotten it because we started talking about Gary. Gary, shenanigans. If you've got nothing to do, come on in. My mouth. Gary.
Mark.
What?
Shut up. Yeah. So.
Well, what? Did you have anything else?
No, that was it.
That's all?
That's all.
Well, when we come back from this traffic and weather report, we'll give you Paul will give you his predictions for Sunday. But as it stands right now, here's Paul Warren from your Warren Brothers Traffic and Weather Center with your traffic and weather update.
Traffic was fine on our ride to the studio when Mark, the adequate brother in the world, drove me here. And the weather right now, it is currently 56 degrees and cloudy. Expect a high of 63 degrees and a low of 48, and partly cloudy throughout most of the remainder of the day. Low chance of precipitation tonight, and high chance of darkness. And now we bring it on back to Mark at the Old Brooklyn News Desk.
Hey, in the news, There were 3 youths seen milling about the Westbrook Apartments past curfew, nonetheless, in the last week or so, and and those kids with their shenanigans were eventually. That wasn't the button I wanted to click. Oh, damn it! Now I'm screwed. All right, there we go. That one's the size I wanted it. All right, so 3 kids were chased and arrested at a nearby park. They were released to their parents' custody, but in a related crime from the same parking lot where $2 were and change were stolen from a man's truck. There still are no leads in that. No way 3 punk kids would have stolen $2 and change from a truck in the same parking lot. And also the special assistant to the sheriff in Avon Lake, Hugh Jackson, has emailed the most powerful person in the world, Hillary Clinton, to help with the manhunt to chase down Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky. Let's check our emails. They're in there. There's one from Deputy Hugh Jackson.
And
I'm doing my live read. Yeah, it's my turn. I know it is. Hey, this is an actual place, real product, someone whose company we're promoting here. That place is This Guy's Painting, owned and operated by Dave Hughes. You can contact him at 440-715-3282. That phone number again, 440-715-3282, or message This Guy's Painting on Facebook. This Guy's Painting is a small local painting company that will do interiors and exteriors all at reasonable prices, and they are insured. Mentioned you heard it here from Mark Warren and receive a free estimate. Expect a quality job done by This Guy's Painting. There's even a review on the Facebook page. A real review from a real person who had his house painted by This Guy's Painting. Or something painted. I don't remember, honestly. Owned and operated by Dave Hughes. You can reach him at 440-715-3282 or Facebook, This Guy's Painting, and receive a free estimate when you mention Mark Warren or Paul Warren or the Warren Brothers Sports Show or the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network or the word Warren or the book War and Peace or just Warren. Say Warren at some point there. You get your free estimate.
but don't say Elizabeth Warren or Rick Warren. Those are different.
Technically, but it's still the word Warren is in there.
Hey.
And there's no point to that. Hey, we're back with the show. So you can't tell the difference between a commercial break and the show because, there's really no smooth transition. Transitions, we don't need no stinking transitions. Transitions. That's for people who know what they're doing. Anyway. Oh, shit. What? All right. So we want to close this the book on football.
On river football.
You so tonight you have the Vikings beating the Redskins. These are Paul's picks. You should have like a graphic. We'll put that up. Paul's picks. His nose, his butt. And that's what Paul picks.
I pick on
Picks
you.
on me after touching his nose and his butt.
No, I didn't.
Gets boogers and poop all over my nice red jacket that I wear on Thursdays. Red Jacket Thursdays. So, that being said, you got the Vikings beating the Redskins. You gotta talk.
Okay, the Vikings over the Redskins. The Dolphins over the Steelers.
So the Rams over the Bengals.
Yeah, the Rams over the Bungles.
Eagles-Bills game.
I'm going to say probably the Bills
Mm-hmm.
over the Beagles. And what else?
The Steelers over the Dolphins.
Yep, I already said that.
I know you did, but that's the Monday nighter,
Yeah, that's Monday nighter.
right? Well,
Yeah.
how about Broncos Colts? You have the Colts beating the Broncos.
Yes, the Colts.
Basically, all the home
The
teams are
Broncos.
winning, and then in the Patriots Browns game.
I'm afraid to say this, but
Don't be afraid, because it's probably the same thing.
the
I feel.
Patriots are probably going to beat the Clowns.
Mm-hmm.
We're not there, and we're not there yet.
Do you have a final score in the Patriots Browns prediction?
It's probably going to be a blowout, like 35-3.
35-3. So you've heard it here first. Paul Warren predicts a Patriots drubbing of the Browns, 35-3. I'll give you my prediction tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Not you, though. You won't know.
I won't.
No. Because you'll be off gallivanting around on the set of Baker Mayfield's latest commercial.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we're going with, if you're still listening out there.
So how about the Buckeyes? Because college football.
Yeah, I know what college football is. I thought you were talking about the trees,
Oh.
Buckeye trees. Of course, college football. What about it?
I think the Buckeyes will win that one. Because it's the Buckeyes. And
Wait, so you're wanting to do a quick predict on that now too? I didn't realize you wanted to do that. Well, what about it? What do you want to talk about?
well, I'm trying to transition from NFL to NCAA football.
I mean, I was going to talk about basketball next.
Okay,
I don't know what you're doing thinking you're in my mind. I mean, no, if you want to talk about college football, but the only thing that you have basically is literally going to be, I think the Buckeyes will win.
Okay, then let's go to basketball.
No, go ahead and finish your Ohio State thoughts.
That was it.
Who are they playing?
I don't know.
Oh, there you go. All right. So they're going to beat whomever they play, regardless.
Yes.
It's the Wisconsin Badgers.
Oh, the Badgers. Yeah,
yes,
that's
the
an easy-
13th ranked Wisconsin team.
That's kind of an easy win for OSU.
Why do you think that's an easy win?
I wouldn't say that easy, but the Badgers were not doing that well this year.
The Badgers only have one loss, and they suffered at the hand of the Illinois Illuminati just last week by 1 point. I don't even know how they lost, quite frankly. Wisconsin supposedly should have been able to hold on to win. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they went for two of the last play. I didn't go back and check. I don't know.
You think the Badgers will win?
Badgers? I don't need no stinking Badgers. No, I don't think they'll win, but I think they'll give Ohio State their first real test of the season. Ohio State won't win by. I mean, did you have a final score predicted?
It's going to be a marginal victory. Marginal win.
Yeah, no, I'm following. But I mean, Ohio State's
Probably
not
a win by a touchdown.
Destroy them. It's probably be something like 38-21, something like that. So more than a touchdown. I think it'll be a tight first half.
Okay.
Which I mean, most second quarters, Ohio State starts to pull away. In the third quarter, they just demolish the other team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, that was it for college football.
So we did a full 2 minutes of college football.
So
I don't know. Anyway, all right. Well, I mean, you want to talk basketball as the whole or the NBA? Because, I mean, the only things people in this town seem to care about is LeBron and Kyrie losing, which both things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then hoping the Cavs get a great draft pick. It's the only thing. When will they trade Kevin Love? So glad we kept Kevin Love. The actual tweets that I've seen. That's what it says.
I think next time I might wear my Beach Boys shirt. If Kevin Love gets traded, I might wear my Beach Boys shirt.
If Kevin Love gets traded at all, it'll be closer to halfway through the season, near the deadline, in hopes that whatever team that wants him in the first place overpays for him. He's got to at least appear to be healthy for that long into the season, because he wasn't healthy last year and he struggled with injuries throughout his time here in Cleveland. And I mean, the guy's looking old. I don't mean that in any fastidious way. You can play basketball until you're damn near 40 or until you're 40 or over 40. But Kevin Love's a dude who at 32 is looking like he's played for 10 years, which is true. I mean, he has. At least 10? Is it 10? Did he spend only 4 in Minnesota? I forget now. I forget how old he was when we traded for him. But yeah, Kevin Love is starting to look like a dude who I mean, he's super lean. He could stand to be bigger, but it makes sense for the kind of game he plays. He likes popping outside and taking shots. But then you got nobody down low to rebounds. What, just Thompson all by himself with 4 players around him? And guys weren't finishing at the hoop last night. But you want to talk about NBA on a whole. So Brooklyn, Kyrie puts up all these points. He scores 50 last night. And they still lose at home. I think it was at home to the Timberwolves, who've been a borderline team. They were an 8 seed a couple years ago in the playoffs. But there's no consistency in Minnesota. So Brooklyn goes and loses to them on the first game of the season. It's not good. We talk about like how bad the defense is in the NBA anymore. I mean, man. The Timberwolves don't play defense at all. Most of their opponents don't when they play against them either. So for Kyrie and losing that game, despite his best efforts, I mean, that happened. Score 50 and you lose. Who else is even in Brooklyn? Durant's hurt. He's not playing until at least halfway through this season, right? Broke his leg in the finals. So, I mean, and then LA, the Lakers losing to the Clippers because Kawhi Leonard is actually a really good basketball player, and the Clippers built a great team. As key as it is that Anthony Davis went out to LA to join LeBron on the Lakers, that doesn't guarantee you a top 4 seed in the West. And people are already crowning them the champions because of that deal. I don't understand like the desire to have to talk trades ad nauseum. I mean, that's all that's been happening in football this week. Since the Browns haven't been playing, all there is trade talk stuff. So how are we going to bolster this offensive line? Like the offensive line, I know it's a weak point, and that's understatement of the year. I mean, your linebackers are worse than your offensive line. It's because there's no depth there. Jake and I have talked about that numerous times. There's no depth in your linebacking core when you're running this weird 4-2 nickel thing. You only have 2 linebackers on the field all the time. You better have 4 good linebackers on your team. But with that being said, and you only have 2 healthy, slightly above mediocre linebackers, and I only say that about the kid, Wilson, that I really like, Mac Wilson. It's because he's a rookie, so he's lost out there. Hey, you're not going to learn a whole lot from Schobert, who, as Jake likes to point out, starts just running after people and isn't looking at where the ball is because his back's facing the line of scrimmage. Which was a great point by Jake because it's true. The more tape you watch, the more you see it, the more alarming it gets. When you're watching the game live and you're like, oh, he's trying to chase after that running back that got past him because he's on him in coverage. And, oh, man, quarterback just rattled off a 12-yard run right at where Schobert was because Schobert's facing the goalposts that were behind him when the play started. Yeah. So that's why I don't like basketball. There's your football analogy for some reason. But so it's all about just getting 2 guys together on teams. The whole Houston Rockets stuff. Houston's where those 2 guys are, right? He used to play with Oklahoma City. Westbrook got traded there, and he and Harden are lovers, and that's spurring KD, who's with his lover Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn, and they've overly effeminated basketball.
I just like to play NBA Jam. He's heating up. He's on fire. Boom shakalaka. Bang.
That's a way of putting it, sure. And because of his promiscuity, he's on fire when he pees.
Ouch.
Because it burns when he pees. Just ask Magic Johnson or Will Chamberlain or any of those other guys who claim they bedded thousands of women. I am HIV positive that those guys, I'm not, the way I worded that was weird. I'm not that I know of anyway. Should get tested. But
I just hope you don't have to get the needle in your wiener.
They stick it in your wiener?
Yeah, they stick it in your Johnson. And it's like, and you might as well just grab onto
Wait, like in the little hole or like on the side?
I don't know, but
how do you know so much about it?
That's like how many people, if they got that.
Can you just like take pills or creams or shove it up your ass?
So probably now, but back then it was like
you had to shove a needle in your dick.
And it was like
well, there's a big difference if it's the vein on the side or right in the hole. I don't want it right in the hole. I had a catheter once. That was painful.
That's why in the line, why does it hurt when I pee?
That's the burning then.
I don't want no doctor to stick a needle in me.
Well, it would go in through the side even too.
And I'll make it go blind too.
Blind?
Yeah.
Oh, syphilis. That's why the gangster lost his eyesight.
Gonorrhea.
The guy named Kaka.
The syphilis, you go deaf.
Okay.
That's what Beethoven got.
He had syphilis, so he went deaf.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Capone had gonorrhea and went blind.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's more science. We talk more science today than anything else. You got men pretending to be women and guys who need needles in their dicks. Although I guess the men who want to become women would wind up with needles in their dicks possibly too. I don't know how that works. Hey, because that all had to do with basketball.
Well, it started with Magic Johnson and his Magic Johnson.
Good job, Paul. You're doing way better than yesterday. You sucked yesterday. Today, just hot fire between Bonkos and Magic Johnson's Magic Johnson. It's just amazing. You want to talk about the Cavs losing to Orlando?
Not really. They just lost to Orlando.
That's all you got for that?
Yeah.
I watched some of the game. I stopped off at an establishment after I dropped you off yesterday to watch the third quarter and part of the fourth. It was enough time to have 2 beers and then get home in less than an hour.
It's like getting glasses.
Sure. It was actual, glasses. And when the beers were out of them, you could do that.
Yeah.
Glasses of beer. And so 94-85 loss in Orlando. And there are 2 things that really stood out to me in particular is that the team just was not finishing at the hoop. I don't have the exact field goal percentage numbers. It was bad at the half. They were trailing 55-41 at halftime. And they looked like they weren't hitting anything. And then what's even worse is that, and this was both teams, is no one plays defense. I don't see boxing out anything. It's literally dude goes to put up a shot, and it'll be a relatively close shot. Something in that 10 to 12 foot range. You're in the paint. You're right there. You got to just put it up and in. Just bank it off glass, or just set it in the hoop almost, and all the other guys, we're not going to jump to contest that or possibly get the foul called or anything. We'll watch. Hey, look at him. There he goes. And hey, there it goes. And it's missed anyway. These guys aren't finishing strong enough at the hoop.
Nothing but air.
Some of those were. Matty Dellavedova took a terrible 3-pointer at one point in the game. He just kept going. It looked awful.
Nothing but brick.
And it wasn't even brick. It was nothing but air.
Yeah.
And so that's what I have to say about no one in all of who's calling this. I don't know, 719. If you want to call the show here, though, and I actually will answer that one because I give that one out here on the interwaves. That's my personal phone over there. I'm not answering that one. But if you want to call the show here, phone number is 216-487-1507. That phone number 216-487-1507. Just so you know, even though most people just stick to the live chat and criticize me some other time when they get the chance. Here, I'm just gonna go right to weather and traffic, and over there at the Warren Brothers Weather and Traffic Center is Paul, Mr. Cleveland Warren.
Traffic was fine on the ride over to the studio when Mark Warren, the mediocre brother in the world, drove me here. And for the weather, it is currently 56 degrees and cloudy. Expect a high of 63 degrees and a low of 48 degrees. And partly cloudy throughout most of the remainder of the day.
You keep saying partly cloudy.
Cloudy. And low chance of precipitation tonight with a high chance of darkness. And now return to you to Mark at the Old Brooklyn News Desk.
All right, in the news, 3 youths were seen milling about the Westbrook Village Apartments over on Memphis Avenue. It's the same parking lot in the same apartment complex where $2 in change was stolen out of an unlocked 2017 Chevy Silverado just the other day. And because of that, maybe there's a connection in this case where these these juvenile delinquents were arrested and released to their parents' custody. However, in the other case, there's no leads, and that investigation is still ongoing. Yes. Like a bunch of kids wouldn't steal $2 in change out of some guy's truck. I don't know. Bang up job by that police department over there. Also in the news, the special assistant to the sheriff in Avon Lake, Hugh Jackson, has emailed the most powerful person in the world, Hillary Clinton, to help Hugh with the manhunt to chase down Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky. The two are still on the loose, very dangerous, and it's right there in Hillary Clinton's personal emails. Hugh Jackson asking for her help. Apparently, there's already been one tweet out where Hillary Clinton has asked for consoling to Bill Cosby's family after his suicide. That hasn't happened yet. Go ahead, Paul.
I'm Paul Warren for the Orson Ado. You have lots of errands to do, and by the end of the day, you still haven't even got half of the stuff you needed to do. But the Orson Ado is the one place for all your shopping needs. They sell clocks, locks, socks, smocks, and lingerie at a reasonable price. There's 20 locations in Northeast Ohio. The Orson Ado. We sell everything but love.
Hey, we're back, and it's time for Paul's random thought of the day. What's he thinking?
Actually, since we're going with football, the 16 best quarterbacks of all time. Number 16, Bobby Lane from the Detroit Lions.
And Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep. He actually led the Lions to 3 championship games, and they were all against the Browns. So that's why he's low on the list.
Did they win all of those 3 that they played in?
3 out of 4.
Oh, so he won 3 out of 4 championship
Yes.
games. But 3 of them were against the Browns?
All 4 of them were against the
All
Browns.
4 were against the Browns, and 3 were wins, and 1 was a loss?
Yes.
Back in the 50s?
Yep, back in the 50s.
Wow, so then when you think about it, the Browns won 4 championships. 3 were losses. So they went to 7 NFL championships?
I think so.
No, there's more too, even because they played the Packers in an NFL championship game and lost that one too.
That was in 65.
Right. So the Browns, it wasn't enough that they won 4 championships. They played in at least 8 of those championships. So even they were the second best team in the NFL a lot of years. Bobby Lane. Anyway.
Number 15,
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw.
As one of the greatest ever?
Yeah, he's low on the list. Number 15.
Yeah, but if you're 15 out of 16 on the greatest ever, you're still 15th out of the thousands or tens of thousands who have played the position. Is that because he's won 4 Super Bowls?
Yes, that's one of them. And actually, that's when the Steelers got good, because back then the Steelers actually sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't until the early 70s
Mm-hmm.
that the Steelers were good again when they transitioned from the NFL to the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
And, when their defense was one of the best in the league.
Number 14, Warren Moon of the Houston Oilers.
I like that one, actually.
Yeah, because he was there around that time when quarterbacks were starting to, when the great quarterback era, the 80s and 90s.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, and another key component to Warren Moon was he was a great, was it CFL or USFL or both?
I don't know.
I think it was CFL. As he was a very good quarterback in his own right in another league before making it to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's probably one of the best NFL quarterbacks of all time. I like him at 14th on your list. It was a whole big Facebook debate that I got in with a couple of guys. It was a good discussion, really, because I had forgotten that Warren Moon was as good with his legs as he was. But he played on those awesome Oilers teams in that one year in Minnesota with the Vikings, where he just showed what a prolific passer he was. But Warren Moon, all right, good. I like that.
Number 13, Kurt Warner of the, at that time, St. Louis Rams.
Intriguing. Also,
Mhm.
took the Giants to the playoffs, I do believe, before Eli Manning took over for him, and he lost the job to him. But also took the Arizona Cardinals to their only Super Bowl appearance in the whole Cardinals from Chicago to St. Louis to
Phoenix, Arizona.
Searsdale. Their whole entire history, only quarterback ever to take them to a Super Bowl.
Speaking of the Manning,
But wait, you were saying we're going to say more about Kurt Warner?
well, also that he actually helped the St. Louis Rams during that era, but then the Rams never recovered and they moved back to LA.
Not well in St. Louis. No, Jeff Fisher screwed that up pretty badly.
Yes. And
You
speaking
talk about mediocrity. He is the epitome of mediocrity.
And speaking of Manning, both Eli and Peyton Manning at number 12.
They're tied.
Yes.
Does that make them 11th and 12th, or
I just put them in as a tie.
And then you go to 11.
Yes.
So it's almost like they're just half a guy each instead of doing it traditionally the correct way. But that's all right. So the Manning brothers, and they're equals in your opinion.
Yes, because Eli helped the Giants, Peyton helped the Colts.
Those are things that happen, yes, but how are they equals?
Okay, because, well, first off, they're brothers. Second off,
are you and I equals?
Not really.
Oh, no, why not?
Well, because I'm the straight guy, you're the
gay guy.
No,
so we're not equals because I'm gay and you're straight.
Screwy, the Jerry Lewis guy.
I'm Jerry Lewis in this analogy. Does that make you Dean Martin? Are you high?
No.
If I'm Jerry Lewis and you're Dean Martin,
it's a comic concept. There's this straight man and there's the funny guy.
So you're saying I'm funny?
Well, do you?
I'm funny to you? What, like a clown?
That's not what I. Now you're pulling me into this.
Anyway,
you really are.
If you and it's fine since this is your list, but if you think Eli Manning, the fact of the matter is that yes, Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. Peyton Manning also won 2 Super Bowls, right? I
believe so.
Yeah, he did. One with the Colts and one with the Broncos.
Yes,
the Broncos. Mm-hmm. But Peyton Manning is a much better quarterback than Eli Manning. Okay. However, you can have them both right next to each other on the list and claim that I'm Jerry Lewis. Frick.
Okay, number 11, Cam Newton.
And why do you have him there?
Well, because he did help the Carolina Panthers.
He helped the Carolina Panthers?
He was.
You're saying all these guys just helped guys.
He was great on the Panthers.
Oh, he's still a very good quarterback. Yes. I hope his arm finally heals because that's a big component to what makes him so exceptional. He's what everybody's claiming Lamar Jackson is at this point after like a handful of games.
Where's he at now?
Cam Newton? Oh, he's still in Carolina. Okay. He dresses like Medea from those awful movies.
You're gonna hate me on number 10, but I put in John Elway.
It's not hate. You can have your opinion, man.
Because well, the thing is,
I mean, just what makes him so great? I mean, each time your answer has been, well, he helped a team.
Okay, that's not it.
I mean, lead a team. He's got great stats. He's won Super Bowls.
Well, in the 90s,
he looks like a horse.
Well, for Elway, in 97 and 98, when he took the Broncos to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 2 back-to-back Super Bowls.
And he was actually had a lot of assistance with the receivers and running backs at the time. And unfortunately,
he'd run the ball himself, and he was doing that even as like a 37 and 38-year-old man, and that's impressive. I mean, he was a leader on that ball club. Yes. It's why, I mean, it's no small feat to take your team to 3 out of 4 straight AFC championship games in the late 80s and still play at a high enough level to do the same in the late 90s, to, 2 back-to-back.
I was also thinking about the infamous drive. Now, that was after the Browns won against the Jets in double overtime. Did they have a double overtime game before they played against the Broncos?
Yes, back in 1986, after the 86 season, and it's the one that was the week before the drive.
Because if the Browns had that double overtime, I kind of have this question.
Do
you think the Browns were a little exhausted in the championship game?
Oh, I'm sure, but they were able to overcome that, and they had the lead going into the last
Yeah.
4 minutes of that game. So no excuse on that one.
Okay.
However, at the same time, I mean, they were barely able to defeat the Jets. They had a tough time in that game, and thank goodness, Mark Gastineau plowed Bernie Kosar when he did, and that the Browns were able to have enough intestinal fortitude to win in that double overtime game.
I just think there was a little bit of exhaustion.
I'm sure it played a factor, but I mean, when you have a 20-13 lead with just a few minutes left, you got to be able to hold that lead.
Well,
Not play prevent defense, Marty.
yeah, and I was just also thinking about how
There's a gleam. What?
like the Oilers had that great lead one time, and then Buffalo just ran them all over in the 90s. Because you know,
who had what lead?
the Houston Oilers.
Oh, that game, right?
Mhm.
What year was that? Was that 90 or 91?
I think 91 or 92.
Yeah, Frank Reich. Right.
Mhm.
Frank Reich, right? Anyway, it's funny because he's the head coach of the it just slipped my mind. Because he's not the Titans head coach, that's Mike Vrabel. Oh, he's the head coach with the Colts. Right. So the guy who was the backup quarterback to Jim Kelly all those years and did an excellent job of leading the Bills that season, especially in that game.
Number 9, I'm going with Drew Brees.
Drew Brees is 9. Okay,
Yes.
I like that actually.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Brees might be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. At 9, I can handle
Yes.
that on your list.
Mhm. Number 8 is Randall Cunningham.
Excellent. All right.
Mhm.
'Cause I do feel like he's slightly better than Moon. Moon might have had slightly better numbers, but I think Cunningham was slightly better.
And this
than
was
Moon.
during the great quarterback era as well.
Yeah, during those 80s and 90s, had a lot of great quarterbacks.
Another one is number 7, Jim Kelly,
All right, Kelly works.
because he led the Bills to 4 Super Bowls, but they blew all 4 Super Bowls.
They did not win a single one of those, no.
Yeah. Number 6, I'm putting in Dan Marino.
So you have Marino 6th.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And number 5, Broadway Joe Namath.
You have Joe Namath as the 5th greatest quarterback of all time.
What can I say? He was great for the Jets.
He had one season,
Okay.
and he really had one game. Who is continuously calling me? It's the same number each time. I almost go ahead and just wait.
Number 4 is Brett Favre.
Favre?
Yes, Brett Favre.
Hello.
Yeah, I think it's some guy.
Hi.
Well, the reason why I go for Brett Favre is because
Yes, I do believe you have the wrong number if you are looking for Terry. I am not Terry. I'm sorry. Oh, that's okay. But I'm glad I answered so that we were able to figure that out. You have a lovely rest of your day, Miss Lady, and I hope you find Terry. All right. Bye. The hell was that?
I don't know.
Wrong number, everybody. I mean, you call 3 times. She is desperately seeking Terry, though. You're going to just keep calling and calling. That's why I answered.
Well, I went with Brett.
So Favre is 4th.
Yes.
That makes more sense than Broadway Joe. Both guys are more height than they are skill, though.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Favre, he's got some numbers in there and took teams to Super Bowls and almost took a Vikings team to a Super Bowl. That would have been really weird.
Yeah. Number 3, Troy Aikman. Excuse me. Need some gasless pills?
Aikman is your 3rd greatest quarterback of all time.
Okay, because he's on the Cowboys.
Because he's the one Cowboys quarterback you remember.
Yes.
Name another Cowboys quarterback.
Tony Romo?
Okay. Who's their
That's-
current quarterback?
I don't know.
Who was actually the greatest quarterback in Cowboys history?
I don't know.
Steinbach.
Okay.
The current one's Prescott.
Okay.
And then there was that other guy who was the quarterback both for the Broncos and the Cowboys. That goes back to the 70s, and he was in the Monday Night Live booth. Tony Romo is going to be number 1. Number 1 what, Dave? Number 1 what? You missed the commercial. unless you heard it.
So
I did it for you 2 straight days now. So if you check it out, let me know if it's any good.
number 2.
Oh no, I get what you're saying. He's gonna be number 1 on the list. Oh, okay, right. It just dawned on me right when you said that. I was like,
number
number 1
2,
what?
Joe Montana.
I have this terrible feeling it's gonna be Tom Brady, actually. But no, Montana. I'm with you there. I like Montana a lot. It's way better than Aikman, Namath, and Favre.
I will say this: Tom Brady is not number 1.
Oh, good. Tom Brady's not even in your top 16?
He's not.
All right.
You know who number 1 is?
Oh, I glanced at it earlier. That's right. Who's your number 1 greatest quarterback of all time, Paul?
Bernie Kosar.
Bernie Kosar, who is definitely not the number 1 greatest quarterback of all time.
It's only because
Because you're a homer?
Yes.
Yeah.
No! So, what would you say is your 6 favorite QBs?
Wait, is this list favorite or greatest?
Greatest.
Greatest, right. There's a big difference between my 6 favorite and the 6 greatest. My 6 favorite QBs, at least 4 of them or 3 of them are going to be Browns.
Okay.
I can tell you that much for sure. And they wouldn't be ranked because it would just be guys who are my favorites. 6 greatest? Because I go with 6 because I only have about enough time to tell you 6. And I got to put Brady sixth out of. I'm going to steal your list too because I compiled 5 in my head beforehand, but I might have to tweak something because Paul is definitely not a homer. Yeah, you're right, Dave. But he goes from all of the crap that he talks to making Bernie Kosar the greatest quarterback of all time. There's no in between with him. It's either, oh, they're the clowns. There's the Cleveland idiots. Oh, I don't even think the Browns will win another game again. Burn the stadium down. Piss on it to put out the fire. Shovel the ashes into the lake. I'm Paul. Bernie Kosar is the greatest quarterback of all time. What?
Shut up.
All right, the way I had it was that Brady is 6th because I can't even put Brady in my top 5. I just can't do it. But Otto Graham is 5th because I think about all the old great quarterbacks. Maybe Unitas or Graham. You got to put one or the other in there because you have to have a great old quarterback in your top list, right?
Unitas is an honorable mention for me.
Good for you, because there's not a single guy here who played before Bobby Lane. Actually, so Paul's got an old guy on there and he's last. And that makes sense. It's what they do in the great top 10 one that I was referencing. That they stick Otto Graham 9th. And for me, it's a toss-up between Graham and Unitas. Although Paul brings up a good point with Bobby Lane. And then Bart Starr. You could make a case for Bart Starr, most likely. As like if which guy out of the old-timey guys was the greatest, Y.A. Tittle or it's the guy's name, but it's you have to have like a pre-70s dude to be represented in there somewhere. I mean, Paul goes with Terry Bradshaw at the 15th best overall. No. So I would go from Brady 6th best. Because even his stats tell you that he's a damn good quarterback. That's more than just system. You could have stuck Brandon Weeden in that system. Wouldn't have been as good. I mean, go ahead and look back at the draft class that Brady was in. Was that 2000? I forget now. I mean, what, Spurgeon Wynn? He would have been that quarterback? No. It's Tom Brady. Tom Brady is your 6th greatest quarterback of all time. But when you look at it statistically and over the whole course of everything, it's reasons why Favre and Marino and guys like that are the cream of the crop. And that's why I've got how did I do that? I compiled it in my head, while I was driving Paul here, because I'm the greatest brother on earth. I pick him up and I drive him through incredible traffic to get him here because I'm mediocre, as he liked to say. I liked how it was getting progressively worse.
Yes.
But it should be like, the most mediocre in the world, or like, one of the Cunningham thing. I can't argue that. That's a good one. Drew Brees was the one that kind of got to me. That'd be a guy to have, because if it's got to be let's see. With the older QBs, it's hard to go by stats compared with 90s and newer guys. I'd go by how their numbers compared to the era and if they were the reason the team they played on was good. Because that's a good point, too. Fran Tarkenton, for as big a part of the Vikings, and even before that, the Giants' success that he was, that Vikings team had one of the best defenses ever, per people eaters. They did a statistical analysis on it. I think it was in ESPN, the magazine. This was a few years back because I was waiting to get a haircut. I see this magazine sitting there, and it had this excellent mathematical reasoning that took into account for the weighted importance of what it was to be a good quarterback in the 70s and because guys threw the ball so much less than 14 game seasons until they implemented the 16 game season. And it was somebody like Ken Stabler actually would be able to hang statistically with the guys now. And he was literally like the only one. There was maybe one other guy. Dan Fouts was the first of the guys to change it in the 80s. And then right after him, Dan Marino. And so that's why people forget Fouts, because Marino did what Fouts did, but better.
What team was Fouts on?
The Chargers.
Oh.
LA Chargers. San Diego at the time. Dad was a huge Dan Fouts fan. That was like the first guy who really was doing what quarterbacks do now. And that was in the late 70s and early 80s. That was part of the Chargers offensive game plan, Eric Corleone or whatever it was called. And AFL teams did that in the 60s some, but the football was still different. I don't know how many of those stats are still known. It's funny, John Madden, I'm fairly certain, was the head coach of the Raiders at the time, who was really big into that style of play. He had Flores as his quarterback in those AFL Raiders days, and games would be 38-35. That's why the AFL had sustainability. It's because they were doing stuff that the NFL wasn't doing, but running was still a key part of it.
I'm probably going to make a list 16 best coaches in the NFL next.
That'd be interesting. But yeah, so 6 Brady, 5 Graham, 4 was the guy I couldn't think of. So if I've got 4 would have to be like Breeze, maybe Fouts. Whoever winds up being 4 winds up being the guy who beats out other people who don't make the list, simply because I feel like Brady and Graham have to make it, even though 4 is a higher number, and that would just kick Brady down. But like Breeze, Fouts, even Favre, statistically great, big time players. Even Jim Kelly, he's a Hall of Famer for a reason, for plenty of reasons. Troy Aikman didn't suck, but I'm of the opinion that 1, 2, and 3, starting at 3, 3 is Marino, 2 is Manning, 1 is Montana, and 1 and 2 are even interchangeable, because I don't know for sure. I just think Peyton Manning might be the best quarterback of all time. I think that's right.
Okay. Well, that's like, your opinion, man.
And I guess that's all it comes down to. Especially since you had the Mannings tied for 12th or whatever nonsense that was. Like Eli Manning is just as good as Peyton Manning.
Well, their father is Archie Manning.
You know what? Then just stick Archie Manning in that spot. Because technically at one point, those two just would have been part of him.
Okay.
And they could have just wound up like their other brother that no one remembers the name of.
Which one?
I don't know his name. There's some other brother. He's older than both of them. He was a decent college quarterback, but I don't know whatever happened to him. Hey, so that music means that that's the end of Paul's random thought. Even though I kind of took it over at the end and then complained the whole time anyway, because it was really random. Before we come back, what we are going to do is, because the end is going to be what did you get out in the end? What did you get out of the end? And before we do that, we have traffic, weather, news, and a commercial. So what we will do is we will throw it over to the Warren Brothers Traffic and Weather Center. Here is Paul Warren.
Traffic was fine on the ride over to the studio when Mark Warren, the worst, lousiest brother in the world, drove me here.
And for the weather, it is currently 56 degrees and cloudy. Expect a high chance of 63 and a low of 48. It's partly cloudy throughout most of the remainder of the day. Low chance of precipitation tonight, high chance of darkness. And now I throw it back to Mark at the Old Brooklyn News Desk.
You did an excellent job with the traffic there, I must say, Paul.
Thanks.
Well, hey there. I'm Mark Warren here with your news. 3 youths were seen milling about the Westbrook Village Apartments past curfew the other day. They were chased and arrested at a nearby park. The police then released the delinquents to parents' custody, and hopefully the parents beat their asses for being out past curfew. However, at the same night, weirdest thing happened was a man found $2 in change missing from his vehicle that he left out unlocked outside right there in the same parking lot. There's no connecting of the dots there. The local police are still baffled in the case of the missing $2 in change from man's 2017 truck sitting in the Westbrook Village Apartments. Also in the news, special assistant to the sheriff in Avon Lake, Hugh Jackson, has emailed the most powerful person in the world, Hillary Clinton, to help with the manhunt to chase down Bill Cosby and Jerry Sandusky. I have the last live read, right? Because you did the last one. All right.
Yes, you did.
This live read is just to let you know to go to patreon.com, the Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network. You get quality programming like this show here, the Warren Brothers Sports Show. We are also working on getting a pilot off the ground. Show called Man versus Booze. We should be filming that in the next couple of months, as well as we're going to do some pregame stuff this Sunday before the Browns Patriots game. I want to shoot for 3 o'clock. I don't know. Maybe that sounds like a good time to go live, right, Paul? Maybe even 3:30.
Yes.
Well, we'll discuss that. Do a little Browns pregame, tiny little halftime thing, and a little after show. Cook up sausages and complain about whatever happened in the Browns Patriots game. And then just for $5 per month at patreon.com, Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network, you can follow my daily Patreon only blog. You as a special member, you see my thoughts and opinions made there, factually based, and contribute. Tell me stuff to do. They're right there on the Patreon because that makes you a producer. Tell me what you want and keep Paul off the streets. Help my brother out. For just $5 a month subscription, you spend more daily on stupid crap. You know you do. This is just $5 a month. You spend $5 a day on stuff you don't need. You need this entertainment.
And good entertainment, too.
patreon.com, patreon.com. Paul claims it's good entertainment even.
Nothing like Kardashians.
When you break down that cable bill, comes down to about $5 a month. Is that right?
Something like
I don't know if you spend like $100 on it. It's about $3 and some change a day. So, just saying $5 a month for this, or like $4 a day for whatever stupid Kardashians crap you're watching, sitting in front of the television. This better. Warren Brothers Broadcasting Network on patreon.com. So that's how you'd help us out there. I guess last key point as we come back here that I wanted to make that Dave was making. His point here is he's got a top 4. He's got it down to 4. Brady, Manning, Montana, Marino, which is he moves Brady ahead there, which is fine. People are gonna put Brady up there higher because the rings, Super Bowl rings. He and the Patriots, they won 6, right? They've gone to 8.
Yeah.
And that puts him ahead of Manning, Montana, and Marino. Marino only went to 1 Super Bowl, and they didn't win it.
No.
Manning won 4, and he played pretty well in the sunset of his career with the Chiefs. Almost got that team to a Super Bowl. Manning it certainly wasn't earlier in his career that he could get over the hump to beat better New England teams that Brady was on. Because let's be honest, in those early years, maybe those first 3 Super Bowls especially, you, Dave, could have probably quarterbacked that team and they would have won the Super Bowl. I mean, it's as good a quarterback as I will say Brady is, because he is. I don't have him as the best of all time, GOAT, whatever. Not even the greatest of his time. For any order, that's why I like that, Dave. That's not just being diplomatic or something. That's the truth. I mean, any given way you look at it, because I mean, Manning is the stats, Montana is the leadership, Brady's just good. I mean, you can't deny that. He's hardly ever the top guy in a statistical category, but you see him in like the top 10 in almost every statistical category. Westbrook's going to wind up the same way. But are these 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? I don't know. Whereas Marino's, if Favre weren't cocky, I guess, I don't know, because I think Marino's better than Favre. Marino, you know what? Marino is if Favre didn't constantly throw into double coverage and think he could make any throw and gunslinger mentality thing. That's fair, pretty fair, I guess. So yeah, basically just different feelings and opinions in those. Brady's calm under pressure. It's not like Montana wasn't. It's not like Manning wasn't. When Manning would lose, he'd just lose badly. I mean, each one of those guys are calling. That's what it takes with the quarterback. You got steady hand, man, steady hand. I mean, it's why like Breeze is a better quarterback than Brady, but we'll almost never know that because they hardly ever play head to head. I mean, we got to have that with Manning and Brady, and I think they wound up pretty even. 7-8 was Manning's record against Brady at the end, and started 1-4. That evened out over the years. I mean, there's some things that we technically just won't know, but I personally am of the opinion that if we went with this group, Breeze is better than Brady. So far as the generational aspect goes, because Manning is already done. Brady's still trying to keep stuff happening, and at least half of those Super Bowls you can't attribute to Brady being the reason why those teams even got to the playoffs. I don't know. That's too much to say. Yeah, I like Breeze as the 5th because that was where I was kind of going with it. It's a fun debate. It's constantly one of those where the hanging out with the guys, you're watching the game. There's a lull in the game. You're hanging out at the bar, having a couple beers, and it's like, who do you think the greatest quarterback is of all time? And all of those is one of those that guys do. I think it's Montana because he embodied what the guys that were bringing into the game and who were also around already. Fouts, Marino's younger. He was able to combine the cerebral with the skill. It's like if Bernie Kosar were a little bit better. I guess maybe that's another reason why I do the Montana thing, because of my homerism. Because Kosar did not have his athletic ability. Kosar wasn't Montana, but he was just about as smart. Kosar's brains wound up getting him a lot further. And that's the funny thing about it, is then you hear stories from guys in local news or local sports circles, a particular guy who's on a show between 1099 and 1101. And he was in the high school areas and playing because he's the same age as Bernie. And Bernie's like the shortstop on the high school team. He's the best athlete at Boardman or whatever high school that was. I figured it'd be a Catholic high school, St. Mary of the Assuming or St. Joseph of the Great Depression or, whatever it is.
Saints Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Yeah, or, St. Paul of Perpetual Sadness.
Hey.
And that's actually just Paul being perpetually sad,
or St. Mark the Jerk.
Yeah, that sounds about right. When you go to that West Coast thing, is you still have to be good to pull it off. That's why like I make a point with Belichick's offense and whatever it is that it's key that Brady's in there doing it, but the defense See, right, get the right guy for it. Wow, see, right? We thought of the same thing at the same time. Montana was that right guy. Fouts probably would have worked in it too. I don't know. See, these are just things that we would never know because it's right place, right time, right guys. It's why, like, whatever the hell's happening with the Browns right now, you know. But what we also see in baseball with what's happening with the Nationals right now. Not that I want to jinx them, but I mean, just think by the time, I mean, the Nationals could wrap this all up before I'm ever even able to talk about it again, because tomorrow's a show, and then we've got Game 3, and then Games 4 and 5 are Saturday and Sunday, if you even need Game 5. But that Nationals team, it's amazing what they're doing. And it's just because it's the right guys, right place, right time. And they started like 19-31 at one point. Like a third of the way through the season. And they look like there was no shot. They're 2 games away from winning the World Series. You know? I mean,
Knock on metal.
this is wood right here. Right? No, this is not wood.
This is not wood.
That's metal?
Yes.
Why do we have something that's metal that looks like wood?
Knock on fake wood.
That's real wood, right?
Okay, yes.
All right, then shut the hell up.
Fine.
So, why does this look so much like wood then?
That's what they do sometimes.
Well, that's an asshole thing to do. So anyway, I had a whole thing I was doing there. What I mean, since it's so important to tell me what's wood and what's not. Go ahead. What else you got?
That was it.
That's it. Just tell me that I'm wrong about things. This is like the 7th thing today. I hope Hillary Clinton does find Bill Clinton. Actually, I hope not. What was the other one from real early on?
I forgot.
I forgot to. Made so many mistakes today. Not that it matters. This is still better than yesterday. I just had no enthusiasm. I felt drained. Just drained. Tired.
You were congested too.
Well, I'm still congested now. Even Garsky was going on about like, man, I get some Dayquil for you.
And I sound like Bob Dylan.
Yeah, I know. That's the congestion. I sound like Dylan. Like, man,
The story of the hurricane.
You got to be careful with that kind of stuff. You get sued.
Okay.
People think that you're actually like singing the song.
I did it like a second or two.
But it does. You got to know the laws on it and the rules and all that stuff. Like it's one thing with jokes. Like you can steal jokes, but like they're not copyrighted.
Right, fine.
That's a song.
Okay.
It's copyrighted.
Fine. Okay, that was it.
Yeah, I know. So sometimes I like just like waiting for you to talk because it's silent. And then you don't speak up or say anything though, because you're just like, I'm Power for community. What good does that do? What does that prove?
Nothing.
Uh-huh.
They should have just covered your mouth.
Uh-huh. But where has that gotten us before? You wind up poking me in the eye, and there's no need to do that again.
Okay, fine.
So yes, I am intrigued in what the Washington Nationals can do for the rest of this series. A lot of that has to do with just being hot at the right time, being in the right place in the first place. Like when, I mean, Breeze was a good quarterback in both places he was, but would Montana have been as good if he had gone somewhere else? Would the same be true of Brady? What if somebody else was there instead of Brady if they were a talented player? And we touched on this for a second, is Elway and what he did. If he had been with the Colts, do the Colts ever move? Go ahead, just like reiterate it.
I don't know what to think.
Well, here, do you want me to repeat what I said?
Yes.
Just for the fun of it, because I like the way this plays out. So it's 1983.
Yes.
The Baltimore Colts draft John Elway.
Okay.
John Elway, instead of saying he'll go play baseball with the Yankees or demanding a trade, decides that he'll play football for the Baltimore Colts. They either throw a ton of money at him, they make some other trade that brings him a little bit of talent, or he's got just no choice in the matter whatsoever. He signs and he plays with the Baltimore Colts. Because of that, the Baltimore Colts never move. So there's thing number 2.
Yes.
Instead of Irsay taking the team in the middle of the night from Baltimore to Indy, that never happens. So 12 years don't pass where there's still football in Baltimore. The Baltimore Colts are still a team. They're in the AFC
East,
and they're still the Baltimore Colts, but they still, I guess, do everything the Indianapolis Colts would have done.
Yes.
But they've never moved. So then the Cleveland Browns never move.
Yes.
Art Modell, though, hires Ozzie Newsome, maybe even keeps Belichick around. Just throw that wrinkle in there.
Yep.
Maybe Newsome and Belichick work together and all for good. And they're the 2 most brilliant minds in NFL history. Not that they are independently, but they certainly are 2 of the best NFL guys of the last 20 years. I think that can go without saying. And just think, Newsome and Belichick, they get Bernie involved. He comes back, and the Belichick and Bernie bury the hatchet, and then they bury Art Modell and his son. And now whoever owns the team is a nice person, and because we never have to hate Art Modell. They give him a new stadium.
They
All of that stuff happens.
they have the Hall of Fame.
The Browns would have 7 Super Bowl wins. But no.
And
John Elway, the real reason to hate the Broncos, and John Elway, not the drive, not the fumble, not that other game where they just beat us, 37-21. Brian Brennan had a nice touchdown reception in that game. One of my earliest memories as a child. No. You hate John Elway, and this is why you should hate John Elway if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, is because he went and wouldn't sign with the Baltimore Colts. It's all his fault that the Browns moved in the first place. How do you think of that, huh? Did I just do the thing that I tried to get you to do better than you?
yes.
Because I know it better?
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say,
That was brilliant.
if that's what would happen, the 2007 Browns would be 16-0 and be 19-0.
Well, there's no guarantee they would have won that Super Bowl. I mean,
Okay.
oh, Dave, do you still like Elway as a GM? Like that trade for Flacco? Elway did it'd be about 3 good things. Getting Peyton Manning, signing that Lindsey kid as a free agent. Because I don't think they drafted him. He went to Colorado University, but he wasn't drafted. And Von Miller. Oh, I like him because he sucks. Yeah, Dave. High five. High five. I don't know. We're about to wrap this up here. I'm going to play the music. That way it gives us the 2 minutes we need to close out and all that other stuff. Hey, Dave. And anybody else in the chat who wants to contribute. What did you get out in the end? What did you get out in the end? What did you get out of the end? No, at the end. What did you get out at the end of the show? Damn song will play. So if Dave wants to contribute, go ahead and do so. Or anyone else who's there in the stream. How about you, Paul? What did you get out of the end? In the end. What did you get out from the end? At the end. What did you get out at the end?
Well, I think that would have been an interesting new other world with the Elway stayed with the Colts and the Browns would stay home and until like mid 90s. Then they would probably play at the Horseshoe in Columbus temporarily.
Oh, have to do that for a year?
Yeah, just
No, everything would stay the same. So how long did it take them to build that stadium?
3 years.
It took the full 3 years to build that damn stadium?
I think so.
That's an awful long time.
I don't know.
They wouldn't play for 3 years down in Columbus, though.
Well, maybe a year in Columbus.
Yeah, even then. Paul's QB list again? Well, you have to go back and watch it, I guess. Maybe do you want me to just rattle it off real fast, Dave? Or is that the thing that you're taking away from the end? In the end? At the end. At the end, from your end, the end. Dave liked Paul's QB list the best. Even more so than those times that he was, ripping me and calling me names. So 16, Bobby Lane, 15, Terry Bradshaw, 14, Warren Moon, 13, Kurt Warner, 12, the Manning brothers, 11, Cam Newton, 10, John Elway, 9, Drew Brees, 8, Randall Cunningham, 7, Jim Kelly, 6, Dan Marino, 5, Joe Namath, 4, Brett Favre, 3, Troy Aikman, 2, Joe Montana, 1, Bernie Kosar. Paul's greatest quarterbacks of all time list. And I guess my takeaway, my what I got out of my end is that Bonkos is hilarious. Make the shirts. It's the Warren Brothers Sports Show here on allsportscleveland.com for executive producer Dad, Dave Hughes, Jake Underwood, and Epic Radio Show for chiming in. And, of course, my brother Paul, Mr. Cleveland Warren. I have been Mark Warren. And until next time, this time has been the most recent. Any last words, Paul?
Say goodnight, Sparky.
Good night, Sparky.
We're running a little late, folks, so good night.